It can be pretty dirty. Feces, urine, vomit, and it's a sad situation. You go through that little bit of, you know what, it's just work. I got to get it done. And then you see the human side of it. You see the emotional side. They start coming down off things. You kind of go through it with people and you see them come back. So you go through a roller coaster of emotions as well.
This is the unseen world of jail, a system that not only incarcerates,
Look at me!
but has to be a drug treatment facility and a mental health ward.
Right now!
Yep, and he wiped it with his hand.
And until their trial's complete, these inmates are not only the jail's problem, they're the jail's responsibility. A responsibility that can add pressure to an overcrowded system. And many are chronic offenders, like Jamie Hoyt.
As soon as I hit Vegas, oh my God, this world was a hell on earth that opened me up to dope so well.
Jamie is in again after stealing a car. A meth user, this is her 7th time in jail in 4 years. Now, with her charges stacking up, she may be facing years of hard time, on previously waived charges as well. And as she awaits a court date, she settles into an old pattern, fixating, to the point of obsession, on the world she thinks is outside.
Somebody told me maybe there's some things you don't want to know. No, it's not true. I need to know, because God forbid, what if something happened to my kids? I need to know the good or the bad. I need to. I can't sit here and wonder. It is gonna drive me insane. If I could take back everything I did and redo everything, I would. My kids and my husband was my world. I disappointed them so much.
It's a story the jail knows well. During a previous stint, Jamie sent a plea to the jail's investigation unit that triggered a thorough evaluation by Officer Seeley.
She submitted a inmate request kite to our office stating that her children were in grave danger. So due to the severity of her accusations, we had to call her down and talk to her. All right, Jamie, you've been writing this, so.
Many officers at the jail receive training in spotting indicators of mental illness, a necessity in handling an increasingly complex population.
What are the babies' names?
I believe one of them was Bella Rose. I never named them, but...
You believe? You've never met them?
I'm about to be legit with you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have bikers in my family. I love you. I got bikers in my family.
Hang on a sec. Where did the kids go?
Okay.
Jamie's information on her kids didn't check out,
Right.
a window into other potential issues.
I don't know. I was bummed out. I found out I inherited a lot of money.
You inherited a lot of money?
Through Sonny Barger. I'm the child that's missing. And I was kidnapped because Denise Hoyt is not my mom.
So what does this have to do with your kids?
Because when I'm inheriting and everything, there's a reason I was either taken by my real mom, talks like with the London accent.
She was avoiding the whole kid situation, and I was trying to hone her in and try to understand, you know, 1, is she mentally ill? 2, is she telling the truth?
Back when I was growing up, I remember these white tigers.
White tigers?
White tigers, okay? Beautiful white tigers. There was a white mama tiger that wouldn't let me go nowhere. She would let me out of her sight.
What kind of food did the tigers eat?
I think peanut butter or cheese.
And I heard they like cheese and peanut butter.
I think I don't want to sound crazy.
She honestly believes in what she's saying. She's convicted in what she's saying. You know, we're trained to identify certain emotions that trigger deception. For example, if she's telling me that she loves her kids and in her face she's showing like disgust, that's a no fit, and those are the things we're looking for. As she's talking, she's showing an upper face fear, a lot of distress, a lot of heartache, so it's a fit. I'm not a mental health professional, but you could tell that, you know, there's some type of mental disorder.
Jamie is just one of roughly 500 inmates that shows some form of mental health issue. a rising tide that has led to an intervention team, specially trained to deal with inmates in emotional crisis,
I want some juice!
and a separate unit reserved for the worst off, those deemed a danger to themselves
Relax!
or others. This is the second floor of the North Tower, a world less like a jail and more like a mental health hospital, filled with inmates displaying signs of serious mental illnesses. And many are repeat offenders, like Lance Marshall.
He grew up in the house. Me, I was raised by the streets. To little 18, he had everything we need. Lord, gotta forgive me for all the things I do, because I in the head and he kept a couple screws.
Seriously, why are you wasting your time with that when you could learn a foreign language and do a murder contract in a foreign country? The rap music is giving you all the wrong tips on how to commit crimes and get away with it.
What about R&B? You like R&B?
I listen to foreign language programs to get educated because that helps me a little bit more than rap music. I feel extremely out of place in the psych unit because I'm somewhat well-read. I've gone to college for approximately 7 years, studied many disciplines superficially, and most of these people can hardly spell their name. It is rather like a fish out of water. I mostly just berate and yell at the inmates for their petty criminality, and that's rather hypocritical of me. Honestly, look where you are! Rap music gave you all the wrong tips on how to commit crimes and be a good criminal. Try the library.
You right there with him. Both of y'all idiots. We all idiots. We all mad.
Landed in the same spot, I mean.
Ain't now that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Doing time in Clark County Detention Center is embarrassing for me because I feel like I've disgraced my family. My passion is to show the world what an intellectual narcissist I am and prove to my family that I'm not a disgrace and humiliation.
Lance Marshall has battled mental illness since his teen years and is a diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic. But it's a fascination with illegal weapons that keeps him coming back to jail.
I'm here at CCDC for possession of brass knuckles. I've been to Clark County Detention Center approximately 5 times, 3 times for weapons charges, and another time for evading a police officer.
Okay, go in your room and have a seat on your bunk.
Okay. I was approximately 16 years old when I started experiencing mania and schizophrenia, though I didn't believe at the time, and it took many years after that for me to finally be convinced. What's the difference between criminals and terrorists, V-man? Terrorists go on to form governments. Criminals just rob them. Ask your friends in Israel. 6 years after I was busted by the police, I went to a mental hospital/correctional facility. I started taking medication, and at that time I realized that the delusions I was experiencing in no way could be real.
It seems incarceration may have helped Marshall come to terms with his illness. But schizophrenia still impacts his ability to make good decisions, like staying away from illegal weapons and drugs. It's an ongoing struggle that he'll confront again in 6 days when he leaves jail.
I'm terrified that I might become a homeless, substance-abusing transient because the last letter my mom wrote said, "When I'm dead, what are you going to do, Lance? You keep on coming to jail and mental hospitals. Are you going to survive without your mother?" That's a terrifying thought. Terrifying.
Fear of the future is a common theme in jail, where guilt or innocence hangs in the balance. And for inmates like Roy Washington, mental illness only compounds the pain.
Hey, Mama. Good. I went to court today. They told me to come back in 2 weeks.
Roy is accused of committing a burglary. And while he hopes to have probation instated, his court date is still 2 weeks away, and his future is uncertain.
I'm trying to stay strong too. Yeah, that's a promise.
I was hurt, came back to the cell, even shed some tears about it looking at my family pictures.
I know I gotta change. It ain't nothing that'll take a week or two. It's slowly happening.
I wanted to inflict, open back wounds on my arm and do that again because I was hurting so bad.
Roy Washington has a long rap sheet of petty thefts, matched with schizophrenia and depression. He's also known as a cutter, something he says he's been doing since an early age.
I first started cutting myself when I was like 6 years old. It's just something like next to ventilating. Releases all the confusion, your loneliness and your anger. But then 10 minutes later, you're feeling the same thing. So then you're back cutting yourself again. It's like an addiction.
It's a behavior that makes Washington an especially tough case, and one that may be getting tougher. His last jail stint ended with prison, where he took the cutting to a new level, trying to take his own life.
I knew that once the guard would see it, he was gonna lock me up. So what I did was I got two blades. So I put one on my gum on the side of my mouth, because once you slice your wrist, the blood just don't trickle out slowly, it's just like, so once they got everything wrapped up and stapled down, they put me in a room by myself. I unwrap everything, get the blade and do it again. But they have the cameras there. But once they seen that I wasn't getting rid of the blade, they had to strap up and come and shoot you with the needle. So when you wake up, you're all shackled up and you can't move. When I talked to my family about it, they said that, you know, don't let the devil tempt you. Try to do something that's gonna prevent you from hurting yourself or hurting your celly. So I'm gonna read my books, continue working out with my celly, playing cards, you know what I mean, looking out the window, and hopefully that'll just blow by time until I go back to court. But it's hard, it gets hard.
Roy has 2 weeks before he goes back to court. 2 weeks to control his thoughts in hopes of getting back home to his family. At Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, mental health nurse practitioner Virginia Singer is checking in with a regular here, Jamie Hoyt. Part of the jail's ongoing efforts to get inmates like Jamie the treatment they need while in custody.
Tell me your understanding of the competency evaluations.
Frequent observation is also part of a process that helps determine whether inmates are competent to stand trial.
May I see the drawings? I just want to take a quick look at those.
Yeah, I do a lot of drawings, actually.
It's an evaluation that could set off a path towards treatment, or, if Jamie's found competent, up to 4 years in prison.
Doing an 8-ball methamphetamine a day really doesn't help. I mean, that's $300 worth of drugs. That's just bad.
But her addictions make for a complex picture.
Jamie is just one of many here in the jail with bipolar disorder. A couple of times when she came in here, she was still under the influence of methamphetamines. Right now, she's been here in the jail long enough that probably what we're seeing is not related to the methamphetamine use.
All right, God bless you, man.
Unfortunately, sometimes when they're still under the influence, they can often mimic the manic phase of bipolar. It can mimic someone with schizophrenia. It gets a little hard to sort things out.
Sorting things out begins from the very first moment a new arrestee walks in the door, where officers and bookings screen for signs of both intoxication and mental illness.
Do you feel like hurting yourself? Are you suicidal?
Is this a joke?
Oftentimes, mental illness and addiction go hand in hand. It's kind of hard to tell which one starts first.
Booking is often the fork in the road, where intoxicated inmates head for the detox tanks. And after coming off their high, those showing the signs of mental illness will be going down one path, while others, the addicts, set off on a path that could lead towards treatment of a very different kind.
I come to jail at the same time every year for some reason.
Why do you keep coming back to jail?
It's just drugs. It's drugs.
Nina Dicken is a regular at the jail. Back in after drug use led to a probation violation. She is now facing the possibility of prison time on her original conviction, holding a 16-year-old against her will while on a heroin bender.
I hate myself when I'm high. When you're on heroin, there's nothing else. You don't care about anyone. Probably when I was like 12 or 13, I started drinking, stealing alcohol, and smoking weed. Then I got pregnant when I was 15 and had my son a day before my 16th birthday. I was clean until I was 18, and then I started doing speed. And then probably right before I turned 19, I started doing heroin. My mom did heroin my whole life. I hated my mom for doing it for a long time, but you learn to accept because she's your mom. So I learned to accept her. She's a good person, but she has a bad habit. I don't want my son to think of me how I thought of my mom when I was 10 years old. I don't want my son to be like that. I think about that every day.
For addicts like Nina, this is the start of a path towards treatment or incarceration, and also a cutoff from the outside world and its temptations. There are no contact visits here, no incoming phone calls, and with no money on her books, just one jail-issued stamped envelope every 2 weeks. The only lifeline to her boyfriend and partner in crime, Levi, who's also in jail, after his probation officer caught the couple with heroin.
I don't know what to write. You got me put in jail. This is all your fault. That's like the last thing I said to him when we came in here. It's not true, though.
Hey baby, I love you and miss you so much, and I can't wait to see you. I am very upset I haven't got a letter from you. I expect one at least once a week.
I'm definitely in love with Nina. I'm just excited to see how much different it can be without the drugs. Just me and her doing what's right. Anybody can be a junkie. Once you shoot it up 3 days in a row, it's game over. It can take anybody's life. But I'm ready to change out of that world, though. Definitely don't want to be a junkie anymore.
Kicking a habit is tough. Kicking heroin is even tougher. But now may be the time. Coming to jail brought unexpected news during the medical screening and booking.
I sent our ultrasound I got from the baby doctor here on June 20th. I was 8 weeks and now I'm 9 and counting.
When I found out I was pregnant in jail, I was scared. It's the worst possible place to find out you're pregnant. With a baby, it's not just about you. I don't want to be the only one making the decision, because I don't feel like it's only my decision. I feel like he needs to put some input in it too. Even though it's my body, but still. I just don't want to put Levi in this situation if he doesn't want to be. You know what I mean? And we haven't talked.
I'm definitely nervous to be a father, but I think I'm ready. Hopefully, pregnancy and the child will help us break that chain and start something new, you know? We have something to live for, something to not use for.
For now, Nina and Levi will have to wait for their sentencing and make a choice about having a child behind bars. It's been 3 weeks since Nina Dicken returned to Vegas's largest jail on a probation violation. And today, the heroin addict could be getting a rare second chance, a chance to do her time in a rehab center rather than prison. It's a program called Drug Court.
Hi, I'm Melanie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hi, Stephanie.
Let's sit right here.
But there are thousands of drug cases in the jail, and a limit to how many the program will accept. And since Nina's pregnant, getting in is not only about Nina's health, but that of her unborn child.
What is your drug of choice?
Heroin.
Heroin? And when did you start injecting it?
Just recently.
Do you just have one child?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm pregnant right now.
How far along?
10 weeks. But I don't know if I really want to have the baby.
You don't want to?
I don't know if I want to have the baby.
Okay.
I haven't got to talk to Levi or anything.
Okay.
So I don't really know.
So am I here? What are you saying to me? Like that you maybe want to have an abortion, give the baby up for adoption?
I'm not sure.
Part of this assessment is we're asking you a lot of personal questions, and I know that we're really kind of digging in there and finding out what your story is, because we want to set you up with the right level of care, the right help. If you want to be in drug court, it is a privilege, and there's a lot of resources and a lot of help, but you don't get to decide what your program is going to look like. You know, one of the concerns being that you're pregnant and you're using intravenously. Those are big concerns, you know, for your health, but also the health of your baby. What do you want for yourself right now?
I want myself to stay clean.
Stephanie and we're here to help you. We're here to support you. We definitely think that you are a candidate for drug court.
The counselors decide to take a chance on Nina and make a recommendation to the DA for the program. Something Nina's boyfriend Levi has just gotten his ruling on.
You are hereby ordered to attend 7 recovery support meetings. Only 1 meeting per day will count towards the number you are ordered to attend.
Approval for drug court means a release to a sober living facility is fast approaching. But he has been down a similar path before, with a bad outcome.
Yeah. You got some? Yeah. I went to rehab as a juvenile when I was 17, but I ran away because I ended up using at rehab. I was on the run, say 5 months before I overdosed on heroin and woke up at the hospital with a catheter, and addiction's horrible. I hate it. I think I keep getting drawn back into addiction because of my mindset that, oh, I'm just gonna use one time. I'm just gonna use one time. Any junkie will tell you that doesn't work. If you wanna get clean, you know that you can't hang around with all the people that you used to hang around.
Getting into the program means putting sobriety above all else and staying away from Nina and his unborn child until he gets through treatment. While getting off drugs is the priority for addicts, for mental health inmates, the key is staying on them.
Here's how I control my delusional life and my mania. I take my medication, I listen to my psychiatrist, and if I have a delusional thought, I file it in the back of my mind. And maybe there's no amount of medication that's ever going to stop those delusions from presenting themselves. You're welcome, gentlemen. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank you. But I will forever file those in the back of my mind. A lot of people don't like the side effects. It makes them tired, you know, and some people like being crazy and going through mania.
LG, man, how you doing? Okay. They got you on medication?
Yeah.
What kind?
Depakote and something else.
They got me on that Thorazine.
I think diagnosis is just whack. They're just trying to label it as something and hurry up and get the pills. The drugs make you stupid. It makes you slow. Sooner or later, you'll be doing the Thorazine shuffle. It's just like you're zoned out, and that's what I ain't trying to have. But my lawyer said he was gonna talk to the DA about getting me probation. In order to get into that, you need to be taking medication. If I don't get probation and they send me up to back to prison, I feel like I lost. It's just taking the time to start over, get out again, and rebuild. I don't know. That's where I'm gonna lose myself. I'm gonna lose myself, I know that.
Roy has 1 more week before his hearing, 7 days to stay on his meds and prove to the judge he's worthy of a second chance. Every week, thousands of inmates make the underground walk from CCDC to Las Vegas's courtrooms. For those with mental illness or drug addictions, it's time to find out if they're facing a prison with little room for treatment or the streets and its temptations. For bipolar inmate Jamie Hoyt, in jail again after stealing a car, today's hearing is a first step, a determination of whether she's even competent to stand trial.
If I'm found competent, then I won't get the mental health treatment that I do need. You know, and I'll have to do the time, you know, because I did sign a deal.
Jamie's already admitted guilt, so there's little she can say now to sway the judge, who determines competency based on the recommendations of mental health doctors.
I know you don't need to talk about it. I would like to talk to her, trust her.
If declared competent, Jamie will be held accountable for her crime in prison.
We have had 3 evaluations that have been undertaken. In the first instance, Dr. Colissimo finding the defendant not competent to proceed with adjudication. Dr. Krelstein finding the defendant was competent to proceed with adjudication. To address that difference of opinion of the first 2 doctors, that third evaluation indicated the defendant is at this time competent to proceed with adjudication. Basically, she can understand the charges against her and can reasonably aid and assist her counsel in her defense. You have now been determined today, based on the reports we have received and because there is no challenge, to be found competent. I don't know that there's anything further that we need to have explained.
For Jamie, it's a battle lost. With her charges upheld, the only thing left is sentencing. Roy's moment of truth has come as well. His best hope is that the judge considers his mental state on his latest burglary charges and allows him another chance at probation, at home with his family.
Mr. Washington, this is your opportunity to present any information in mitigation of sentence. Anything you'd like to say?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to let the courts know that I apologize for what I did for stealing from the store. Now I'm on medication through mental health. I'm doing better, clear head. I know my past ain't too good.
Your past is terrible.
Yes, sir, but I'm taking day-by-day steps.
You've got 2 prior felony convictions. You've been to prison once, 1 gross misdemeanor, and now you're back here on this case.
Yes, sir. I'm just asking you, please give me a chance at probation or something. I mean, I'm taking my meds now. I'm good. I slipped. I messed up, sir.
Essentially, when Mr. Washington stays on his prescribed medication, he's fine. But like many people, when they start taking their prescribed meds, they feel okay, then they stop. And when they stop, it's easier many times to obtain whatever one's narcotic of choice is rather than get back on the program. People like Mr. Washington start self-medicating and then end up in criminal proceedings such as this.
I wasn't aware of the consequences then when I was on probation.
So the time you spent in prison on the robbery conviction didn't offer you that moment of clarity or that insight?
I did 5 years, 3 months, trying to suicide on myself. It was harsh. I'm a grown man now, sir, and my mind is more wiser and sharper. I'm just asking for the opportunity, if possible,
Words are easy, Mr. Washington. I hear them all the time. I make a lot of decisions based upon conduct. I don't believe you're an appropriate candidate for probation. It's my turn, Mr. Washington. You've been given multiple opportunities, and you've made the decisions that you've made, and you need to suffer the consequence of those decisions, and in accordance with law of the state of Nevada, that consequence is 18 to 60 months, Nevada Department of Corrections. All right, next case.
Let's go, ladies.
Downstairs, Nina Dickens still faces coercion charges, but today is about her next step. She's been recommended for drug court and a release from the jail into treatment. But the judge has to approve the recommendation, a decision that weighs not only Nina's health, but that of her unborn baby.
I'm looking at prison time, 12 to 48, or drug court. I have already got it set that I'm going to do drug court, and I'll be super shocked if I don't get it.
All right, State versus Nina Dickens. This is time set for revocation of probation. What are we doing on this?
We're recommending drug court as a condition of reinstatement.
Are you pregnant? I don't want to follow that. There's too much of a risk to that child, and I don't want her out of custody when she's pregnant to screw up with dirty urines in drug court. So, you know, if it was just her life, I would be less caring, I guess. But it's really unfair to an innocent child that she goes off and does heroin. I'm just not inclined to let her out of custody.
Judge, perhaps the court would consider this as an alternative, that she stay in custody until two possibilities. One, until
She's going to a doctor's office, is that what you're telling me? Well, why don't we do this? why don't we pass the matter then for you to set up whatever you're gonna set up, and I'll status check it 2 weeks, and we'll see where she's at in 2 weeks.
I think that makes sense.
All right, 2 weeks, status check.
2 weeks to make a decision about her baby. A decision that could change the course of Nina's sentencing and her recovery.
I was just shocked. Going to prison, it's not gonna help me in my recovery. It's not gonna help me get treatment at all. They don't do stuff like that in prison. But that's if I was to keep the baby. So maybe that means, I don't know, I don't wanna make a decision like that in jail by myself. I don't know, I really don't. I don't know, I don't wanna have a baby. I don't wanna have a baby. I don't.
To be released from custody to a sober living house, Nina will have to act on her decision in the next 2 weeks. At the Clark County Detention Center, sentencing day has come for inmate Jamie Hoyt. She's been deemed competent to face her charges and could get up to 4 years of hard time for a long history of criminal behavior.
You're adjudicated of grand larceny of the felony in 278658 pursuant to the stipulation and your violations of your plea agreement. You're going to be sentenced to 18 to 48 months in prison. All right, thank you guys.
I don't understand what these things
I'm confused right now. I'm confused to the point that I thought I had all the cards together, and I guess I don't.
Did he say concurrent or consecutive hours?
I didn't hear it. I need to step up here for a minute.
Okay.
I'm turn my face down.
I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm so tired of crying. My face is like... I don't know anymore.
They sentenced you already?
Prison.
How much time?
18 to 36.
Downstairs, Roy Washington is coming to terms with his sentence as well. He's been given 1.5 to 3 years, a prospect that seems to be taking him to a very dark place.
I was thinking about some other like they ain't taking me, you know. Get on that razor list, pop that blade out on that shoot when you throw it.
That's a cry for help. All these is crying for help. And you asking somebody to help you and they're not. Out of the situation that you're not. You see that? The only person can take you out that situation is God. You. That's it. But it's a struggle though. You solid. You solid. Stay solid. Don't let this get you down. Don't just give up and lay down, because when you do that, then you already accepted failure. Your loved ones don't want you doing that. They don't want you bleeding to death. You're not thinking about them. You're thinking about yourself. And you're being greedy. Don't let this beat you, man. Please don't.
It seems that even in a mental health unit, the support of peers may be just the lifeline a convict needs. Down the hall, Lance Marshall's sentence comes to an end.
How are you doing, Marshall?
I'm doing well, Dr. Horn. How are you?
All right.
After serving 4 months on brass knuckle charges, he'll be leaving jail tomorrow. He hopes for a local mental health group home.
And what are your plans for after you leave?
I plan to go to San Diego, California and reside with my mother until placement for me in Mojave Mental Health is formulated.
But you have to be living here in Nevada to get Nevada Medicaid, which is what pays Mojave Mental Health Center.
And my Medicaid has been discontinued as of my
the first of
conviction.
the month. The first of the month after you're arrested.
Okay.
Lance must stay in Nevada to have his state health benefits reinstated. But with no local family to take him in and a record of mental illness and crime, the jail won't release him to the streets, leaving Lance only one option: sparse living at a state mental health hospital.
Being in Boston Neal Hospital is probably the fastest way to get it.
I'd prefer not. I've been incarcerated so long. I wish to enjoy my books and my freedom. It's kind of hard to read at that place. Hardbound textbooks on physics, mathematics, chemistry, linguistics are not permitted. I want to get back to the library and read. My conversation with Dr. Horn was a little shocking because I didn't know. I was unaware that I was going to be put in a hospital after my departure from the jail, but I should be thankful for being fed and housed, at least, seriously. Dr. Horn, I will accept that I may be relegated to a hospital until placement for my physical residence is done, and I accept that, and I will be grateful.
It's a system designed to keep patients like Lance out of trouble, but it will also keep him away from his main lifeline, the library.
The truth is, according to what I've heard in a psychiatric report at the hospital, my IQ is almost genius. My family and my mind are the only things I have that keep me going. And that by all the measures of psychiatry, my mind is going to deteriorate.
Lance has no choice but to accept his fate for the next month and hope to eventually return to a group home, still of sound mind. At the Clark County Detention Center, Roy Washington is packing up his things, getting ready for a return to prison. He's considered his options for doing hard time and come up with a plan for survival, to move forward on his own terms, without medication.
I will. In prison, other convicts don't like you taking medication. There's a lot of sharks up there. You gotta be on your P's and Q's type, yeah? So, yeah, I'm just gonna get off of it and, just sharpen it all the way back up. It's me that has to come up with some type of mental game plan to help me stop doing this. You know what I mean? A medication ain't gonna help you figure nothing out.
Whether or not Roy will be able to stop hurting himself on his own, without his family or treatment, is an open question, with unlikely odds. Down the hall, Lance Marshall is heading out as well. And in his case, treatment awaits.
It feels good to be free. This was some of the hardest time I've ever done.
But that makes his a freedom with limits.
Well, it sure does feel...
Considered high risk, Lance will be transferred straight to the custody of an inpatient mental hospital. A last-ditch stopgap designed to keep him off the streets and out of jail.
I got your stuff over there on the car along with your backpack and the clothes. So I need you to sign by this X for your property. And then you got $28.86 are going with you also. You see your money?
Thank you, sir.
Right here, so you know where it's at when you get there. So just go ahead and have a seat on that first bench, and we're going to wait for them. They should be here in just a minute.
I have $28.86 to my disposal, and I'm saving every penny for when I get out, just in case something goes wrong and doesn't work out.
So how long were you here?
4 months. Possession of brass knuckles.
No, say it ain't so. Are there people out there really bother you that much you need to carry around weapons with you?
Could be just a paranoid delusion resulting from schizophrenia. Well, I don't think I'll be carrying that around in the future.
That's not a good
Although
thing.
sometimes I think it'd be cool just to carry around an M16 or an AK-47 wherever I go, like they do in some foreign countries.
Well, that might get you more than 4 months in county or something like that. You run around with an automatic weapon.
I do have a mental illness and a criminal record, so whether or not I'll ever find employment anywhere, who knows?
I hope we don't see you back here again.
I hope not to be back. No offense. That's terrifying. I don't want to be that might be my future. I better seriously do something to not have that happen and be my future.
Lance's future begins with at least 1 month of hospitalization, until he can be released to a mental health group home. But battling the cycle of mental illness and incarceration will likely be a lifelong struggle.
Kiwi, Levi, go ahead and roll up. You're being kicked out.
Upstairs, Levi Kiwi is taking his own step in hopes of breaking a cycle.
Want me to send this out to him? I'll get out everything.
He's leaving jail on house arrest to begin drug court's rehab program in a local sober living home.
Stay sober out there, bro. You know what I mean?
His girlfriend, Nina, has set her course as well, to focus on her recovery in the drug court program, and to do it without Levi, and without having another child.
I wrote Levi a letter because I just didn't want to do it without him knowing, but it's hard to even say it in a letter. I'm not ready.
Yeah, don't mess it up.
A baby is a blessing. It is. I'm not doing this because I want to. I'm doing it because I have to. I want to focus on sobriety and getting my life together without a baby.
You're going to a halfway house?
Yeah. All right, let's roll.
All right, ladies, I don't want to miss the door. Let's go.
I hope I'll get out and look at this as a good thing because it changed me.
This is a really structured program. There's no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons of any kind, okay?
Now I'm just ready to be by myself and do my own thing. I think we should really keep our distance from each other for a little while. Until I have myself together.
I know very few people that have gotten clean off of heroin once they started. I'd say probably like 3 people out of the 50 to 100 people that I hung out with in high school. There's heroin everywhere. And if there's not heroin, there's other drugs. I know I can be successful. I've had enough of the bull. I just need to do right.
In fact, you got a nice little setup here.
I think he'll thank me for it. He'll thank me when he's older. When he thinks about it. I think he's gonna do good. I think he's gonna do really good. I think he's gonna do really good.
Jail. It's a volatile world of stress and intimidation.
It just seems like once that anger just goes, I go off the handle.
Predators and prey.
You gotta put up a fight. You got to.
Where lines are drawn.
You gotta choose a side.
And the worst thing you can do is stand out from the crowd.
It's like, what are you doing? You know, I don't wanna be contaminated with the gay, like it's the disease.
It's a big risk to be a target in here.
But for some, it's a risk worth taking.
If you don't like me for me, you for you. I'm me. I'm not changing for nobody.
Las Vegas, Nevada is a playground, one that draws in a wide variety of people. And the jail is no different. Clark County Detention Center is home to over 3,500 inmates. And roughly 300 new inmates are brought in each day.
All right, turn your body to the right.
From murderers and violent gang members to shoplifters and drunk drivers, CCDC is home to all types.
What the can you guys do to me?
Make sure you're safe.
No, you're just a bitch.
To help organize the chaos, officers from the jail's classification unit question each new inmate as they are processed.
All right, you have any gang affiliations at all? Associated with anybody? Do you have any enemies here in custody I should know about? Any psychiatric treatment on the streets? This gives us a way that we separate serious charges from the less violent charges. We don't want to put anybody in that's in here for murder in with someone that's in here for just a simple traffic ticket. So in order to do that, we have to do it right away so that we don't put the wrong person in the wrong cell.
Once thrown into general population, new arrivals are classified again by their fellow inmates. Along lines of gang affiliation and race. It's a process that officers watch closely because these divisions often lead to violence. And the task of classifying each inmate doesn't end at intake.
We're going to be doing our operation in 9 Baker tonight. We have approximately 74 inmates that we're going to be taking a look at.
Today, Sergeant Rocco Lepore and the jail's gang unit are taking things a step further.
If they have tattoos, take pictures of them. We're going to go cell by cell, 1 inmate at a time. We're looking for specific tattoos. We're looking to see which then could possibly tie them into gang affiliation.
They are conducting Operation Ink Spot, part of an ongoing effort to catalog the tattoos of every inmate in CCDC. Tattoos can then be used both to classify gang affiliation and as identifiable markings in court cases.
All right, let me guess. You're blood.
No, I'm not.
No?
I'm telling you, I'm not.
Did they take your tats down in booking?
Yeah, I'm on fire. I'm already in the gang unit already.
Well, they got you listed in gang unit.
OG good.
All right, a lot of bloods in here.
Yeah. There's Crips too.
What do they have you documented as? Skinhead. Skinhead syndicate or just skinhead?
Skinhead.
6, get off the door.
That's why I'm asking if you've been clicked up with the Sureños.
No.
This is your opportunity to tell me if you're in any danger. So I can do what I have to do. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. So if there's somebody that you don't get along with, a certain group, you need to let me know, because I don't want to get you caught up in nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Among the Sureños, Crips, white supremacists, and other affiliated convicts, officers come across one man who doesn't seem to fit in.
I'll lift your chin, boss. I didn't get it. There we go.
Antoine Valentine.
That's cool. Those are scorpions?
Yeah.
Do we have you documented as anything?
No.
Where are you from originally?
New Hampshire.
So, back east. What do you think about the politics out here? It's a little bit different?
Actually, the politics did kind of throw me off, because I'm black and Hispanic, black and Puerto Rican. So when I came over here...
With no clear gang or race affiliations, Antoine doesn't easily fit into any one category. Antoine has been in CCDC for nearly a year, awaiting sentencing for a domestic violence and strangulation charge. And this is not his first time behind bars. With prison time already under his belt, Antoine is a hardened convict. But his previous prison stint was in New Hampshire, and he's quickly learning that the convict code is very different out west.
Where I'm from, there's not like a lot of racism. Like back east when I did time, there wasn't like a lot of politics, like races and stuff like that. I came out here and I see that like a lot of Mexicans and blacks don't get along. I'm like, what? I'm half Hispanic, so I can go either way. You know, they talk to me and they're like, yo, what's up, man? Talking to some of the brothers over here, you know, some of the homies over there. So I'm cool with everyone, you know? I like to mingle with people. You know, a couple like the homies, some of the essays and everything. They're like, you, which one are you today? You black or you Hispanic today? I was like, you like.
For Antoine, being both black and Hispanic means walking a fine line of loyalty and brotherhood with two opposing races at the same time. And in jail, spending time with one race may mean seriously offending another. It can make you an outsider, a target. Something that Daniel Brown is learning the hard way.
It's very hard to live in Vegas. I'm from California. I come to Vegas to be with my sister. Pretty much start off fresh, but that didn't happen.
Daniel is serving 5 months in jail for loitering near a school with a concealed weapon. And in jail, his choice of who to spend time with has upset some of the other inmates.
Being in group homes and growing up, I affiliate with a lot of African Americans. So when I come to jail, I'm ghetto. That's me, I'm ghetto. And people don't like it. Group home kids are just like inmates. They all gotta prove themselves.
Sick of being taunted for hanging out with black inmates, Daniel lashed out. and landed in the additional segregation unit, also known as the Hole.
Mr. Brown? Come on and have a seat, sir.
Today, he is going before the Conduct Adjustment Board, or CAB, where he will be given a chance to tell his side of the story.
Let me read the report to you here real quick, all right?
The whole thing works like a court within the jail, and classification officers are judge and jury.
As I opened the door, I noticed inmate Brown, Daniel, housed in 9843 Upper, pushing chairs around and then taking his shirt off and challenging other inmates to fight. Do you remember that incident?
Well, that person who the conflict was in between, he was been messing with me since I've been on the unit. And he's all, white power this, white power that. And he looked at me and he came up to me and was like, what's up, Littlewood? I was like, I'm not no Littlewood, man. I don't get down with that racist. I'm not with that. He looked at me crazy. And in church services, he kept calling me a bitch, calling me a bitch, calling me a bitch. And all I did was, I pushed the chairs out the way, took my shirt off and said, call me a bitch one more time, and we're gonna prove somebody a bitch. I'm not a bitch, I'm not a punk.
What was the purpose of you doing that?
I just got tired of being bullied, you know what I mean? I was bullied my whole life, I just got tired of it. And I was just kind of tripped out, yes. Plead guilty to that, I guess.
Okay, we understand inmate subculture. This isn't the way to handle this kind of situation, though. Yes. All right? We can't have you acting like this. The 10 for the threat, the 5 for disrupting. All right, we're going to find you guilty of both charges. We're going to sanction you to 15 days here in disciplinary housing, 10 for threatening another physical harm, and 5 for disrupting the module. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right, good luck to you.
If you don't like me for me, you for you. I'm me. I'm not changing for nobody.
For Daniel, standing up to a bully means spending 15 days in the hole. And when his time's up, he'll be thrown back into the pressures and politics of general population. The world of jail is a tensely wound community, segregated into groups, races, and gangs. And like in the outside world, some people just don't fit in. But in here, not fitting in can be dangerous. So CCDC has a special tier for inmates who can't make it in general population. Inmates whose sexuality, gender identity, or charges make them automatic targets. For their safety, they must be kept in their own unit, secluded from general population. Protective custody.
I don't care what anybody says. Say what you want about me, but I really know who I am, truthfully. You don't know anything about me. Why judge me?
No matter what anybody chooses to do in life, should I judge them? No, that's not my responsibility.
You treat me like an individual, you show me respect, I'll do the same for you. You disrespect me, I can do the same for you.
Welcome to Unit 5B, Clark County Detention Center's Protective Custody Module. Homosexuals, transgendered inmates, snitches, and accused child molesters are just some of the inmates who call 5B home. And among them is a newcomer, Ricky Lane. Addictions to drugs and gambling led to a failed armed robbery attempt and landed Ricky here.
My mind is still kind of cloggy about the specifics of what happened on the particular night that led up to the arrest, but I know that I did participate in the robbery. I was extremely intoxicated, and I had just started using methamphetamine. It took about 2 weeks for me to actually sober up and realize the extent of the damage that I've done. I was devastated.
Being openly gay, Ricky must be kept in protective custody for his own safety until he is rolled out to prison, where he's been sentenced to 4 years.
What's better about protective custody versus general population is that you're able to be yourself here. general population, they have this thing called politics where they separate, you know, Caucasians from the black people, from the Mexicans, from the Asians, and you kind of have to stick with your own ethnic group. And here it's not like that. Once I guess you could say, woke up to other people like me, it was definitely easier to make the transition to come out and say hi. Not like pride or anything like that, like I didn't come out with a rainbow flag, but it was just easier for me to mix and mingle when I saw that there were people like me.
But even in protective custody, there are predators.
Just because you're in this PC model doesn't make you safe, you know what I'm saying? Because they got someone like me rolling around here.
Among those in protective custody for their sexual or gender orientation is a potentially violent group of inmates, gang dropouts. Years of gang mentality isn't forgotten easily. And with these inmates in the mix, the risk of violence is constant.
They put us together with these people, and you know, like someone like me or someone like the homie, you know, just get pissed off one day and just say, you know what, he's and just start sticking him or something, start beating him down with broomsticks or something. It's just one bad day waiting to happen.
I go out there and I be checking these fools, like, you know, like I let them know, no, you're not protected. They got monsters out here.
Luckily for Ricky, a longtime protective custody resident who goes by the name Rachel has taken him under her wing.
They call me the granny tranny because of my age and my gray hair, I guess, and the fact that I just tend to mother these people as they come through. It's a natural instinct for me. Her medication has got her breasts sore and they're hurting.
Okay.
So I'm going to give her a coffee bag so she can use it like an ice bag and put it under to cool it down. They come in and they look like they need help. I'll go give them help.
Rachel has helped many new inmates learn the ropes in the nearly 5 years she's been in CCDC. She is showing Ricky how to navigate the world of protective custody and teaching him the skills he will need to survive prison.
When I saw Rachel, I was like, is this co-ed? Me and Rachel get along great. We just instantly had this connection. She shared with me her story, her likes, her dislikes, things like that. We have a lot in common. From that point on, I just kind of separated myself from everybody else and, you know, just started associating with Rachel a lot more.
I put another picture in your room.
Did you?
Yeah.
The drawings were beautiful, thank you.
Oh, they were cheap and quick, and I didn't put enough time into them.
I can't even draw stick figures, so they were amazing.
Well, there you go, there's a stick figure for you.
I can't even do that.
Well, he's a rare person. He's one of those people that he's got a magnetic personality. It makes it a lot easier to have somebody like that I can talk to, that I can relate to. Some of our experiences growing up, figuring out who we are, what we are similar. And some of the experiences we went through, the trials and tribulations of people who were unwilling to accept us as we are, those are similar too.
Definitely try to keep each other encouraged, because in here, we're really all we have.
For those who don't fit in, finding someone who has your back may be key to doing time. But in jail, nothing lasts forever. Any day now, Ricky will be rolled out to prison. And without Rachel watching his back, he will be forced to fend for himself.
Mr. Brown, get out of here, roll it up. Let's do this.
Daniel Brown has just spent 15 days in the hole for